right now. All right, y'all. So we got sitting next to Uncle Stu, his daughter Tiana, and on the far right, we got the daughter of TJ Randolph. So now Uncle Stu is about to step to the back, and these two ladies is going to take over. Tough love, we came to bring the tough conversation, and we came to bring the tough healing. So shout out to you, my brother. I'm out. Peace, ladies. This is on you.
All right, guess it's on us. Hey, how you doing, girl?
Hey, I'm a
Oh,
Kim.
Wanda.
Okay,
What'd you say?
so we're taking over
All
Uncle
right.
Sue's page today. First, I want to announce there will be a giveaway at the end of this live. You must be present to be considered to be a winner. If you are not here, you cannot, be in the drawing to win some of my products. So I just want to give that little brief announcement, and then we're gonna let Danny D take over and begin the conversation.
All right. Well, I guess where I can start, honestly, is just, briefly, because again, it's our first time meeting. So my mom was in the military basically most of my life. She was in, from my recollection, my mom can chat in there to let me know, but she's in the Army Reserves, and then she got pregnant with me, and then she went active duty in the Army for majority of my childhood, and then kind of went into the Navy towards the end. So she was in both branches of, well, not at the same time, but she served in two branches of the military. So, that meant we moved around every 2 years. I don't know if that was what it was like for you, but it was cool when you was a kid, but like as you got older, you was like, we gotta
I
move
did,
again.
I personally didn't experience that because by the time that I met up with him,
Hmm.
he was out of the military.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
So
didn't
like,
experience the moving around. Now I've heard stories because my husband is a military child.
okay.
So I've heard stories from him, but
It's something.
I didn't personally experience it.
It sucks. I ain't gonna lie to
I
you.
could imagine.
But it did give me good skills with how to
Okay.
communicate with people. So I will say that because for me, thankfully I didn't go overseas because I did not want to live overseas. I was terrified of it as a kid. But it did force me to learn how to adapt to my environment because I'm naturally introverted. A lot of people don't know that because like you talk to everybody.
I
Y'all
am
don't
too.
understand. I can adapt, but my core self will be in her own room with TV in isolation. Hi, ma. So it's just like I can't do the whole. I'm not a big crowd person, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But I
yeah, I became
became
an
it to
introvert as well.
adapt.
Yeah,
Exactly. I had to adapt to make friends because I can't just be by myself forever. So,
yeah.
but yeah, that was so. Like for you, did you like mainly grow up with your mom and you like kind of stayed in one area, or what was it like for
Okay,
you?
so okay, originally I was with my mom and my grandparents. Then it was just seemed like one day and it was just like, well, now mama's taking you to go move with here's your dad, we're going to move. So it
Oh,
was just, you know, I
like just
felt
real quick.
it was a forced situation. So
Interesting. Okay, so it was like
yeah,
overnight. You went from living with your grandparents
yeah,
to like, that's
yeah,
crazy. That's
yeah.
wild. Like, did your mom or your dad ever explain why that happened?
No,
Sounds about
no.
right. Sounds
And
about
and
right.
I guess that's where they couldn't understand my anger as a child, as a teenager,
Mm,
because it was forced. You know what I mean? It's like
no, I
you
get that.
forcing me, into a relationship that I don't. To me, he's a stranger. You just
I understand that.
introduced
Yeah.
us, and here it is. You want me to play the daughter role, if you will.
I see. No, that makes sense because like my
Mhm.
mom, she'll tell you like I was cool with the moving around, but where she really lost me was when I was in high school. And she had got out of the military and went in the government. So I'm thinking, oh, she out the military. Finally, I don't have to move no more. We still moved. We moved. And the level of anger as a 15-year-old teenager is different, man. Like teenagers be on some other level of emotion. So
Yes,
I
yes,
was
yes.
so resentful. Like I was just like, because it was my sophomore year, I think, and it was probably like one of the longest places we ever lived.
Mm-hmm.
And for her to like take me out, like I finally made all these friends and da da da, and I'm just like, how you gonna do this to me right now? Like seriously? And so it was just like, yeah, it took me a while. Now looking back, obviously as an adult, I'm thankful that she moved me because, there's a lot of foolishness I was engaging in at the time.
Yeah, yeah,
So it
yeah,
was very
yeah,
good
yeah,
that she moved me, but
yeah.
15-year-old Danny wasn't feeling it. She was just like, nah, get out of here,
Yeah,
all
and I
this.
can relate in that sense, um, because I was living in Manhattan, in New York, in Manhattan, with my grandparents. Then
Mm,
we moved to when it was move with your dad, and now the mom and the dad go get together and try to make a family. All of a sudden, we was in Brooklyn. Then it was we're gonna move to North Carolina.
ah,
Um, so it was, I can relate in that sense because it's like I didn't stay in, you know, how people get to grow up with their friends, go to
yeah,
I didn't
me
experience
either.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and that's
I
what
can relate.
I guess like so for you, like how did you heal from that really? Because like for a kid, your childhood being kind of yoked around, it messes with you for a little bit, you
It
know?
do. It do. I think until recently, um, I didn't really heal from it. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
had this attitude where I just pushed things to the side so it was a not seen thing,
I
out of
see.
sight, out of mind
Out of
type of
mind.
thing.
Yep.
And so, I would have friends. Um, but I was the friend, but they wasn't a friend back. That makes sense?
Oh, no, man, you in my life, man, because that's
Yeah,
real. That's
yeah.
really real. Like, definitely as a kid, you don't realize how many friendships you have really aren't friendships. They
Hmm.
like, they just either using you or they're just associates trying to get something out of you. It's just, and as a kid, if you don't have like, because you don't have no wisdom as a kid. So
Right,
it's like you can't look and see what people's intentions are. And it's
right.
just, it shapes you though. Like, it
It
shapes
does.
how you look at people. It shapes how you interact with them going forward because you then think everybody's shicey. You think now
Mhm.
everybody got an agenda, and it's not necessarily the case. It's just your circle
Right.
happened to be that, but it still messes with you. So I think for me, like I started healing from that kind of stuff probably when I went to college because, I moved out, I moved to Texas and I was
Okay.
in Virginia. I moved far. I was like, I'm out. Like I was
Okay.
gone. So when I started to be on my own more, I got to see the world just more so from my own point of view. Now,
Okay.
unfortunately, I still went through major betrayals, major friend losses,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
major, just like I was in a relationship in high school that ended when I got to college basically, so that
Mhm.
was major shifts,
Yeah.
like happened at such a young age. So healing from that was way harder than anything I've had to heal from in a long time, because it was like, take your, like you said, you were living this one life with your
Right.
grandparents and your mom, and then you switched over, and that's exactly what it was like for me. It was like I went from having a relationship, having my friends, to having no relationship, no friends,
Yeah.
isolated, had to move out of my campus dorm because I couldn't afford the tuition, like all in like a semester.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's a
I'm
lot. It's a lot.
18, that's a lot. And it's like it can be very traumatic, so it's like at the time I didn't have, counseling money, but I ended up actually, finding a church, and that's how I got healed, just through the true, like, genuineness of the people there. Like
Hmm.
they helped affirm my faith in people, because at the
Yeah.
time it didn't exist.
Oh,
I was just like,
yeah.
it ain't, everybody horrible, ain't nobody real, everyone's untrustworthy, I can't do anything, just angry, just
Yeah. Yeah.
all the time,
Yeah. People don't understand that anger. Um,
They don't.
Even down to family. It's just you looked at is, well, I know for me, it was the black sheep. Let me push her over here in this corner because she's just this and she's that and she's this and she do this wrong and that wrong. It was nothing right type of
Yep.
thing. And but instead of people getting to know what's underneath,
Yep.
it's just a push to the side.
Exactly. And it's like I think people don't take into consideration when it comes to kids, like kids need order, you know? And when things get out of routine and out of order, they're not adults. They don't know how to adapt. They just freak out. Like
Right,
they're just
right.
like, "Oh my God, my routine is gone. What do I do? What do I do?" Like, and so they
Yeah,
lash out
yeah.
emotionally. And my mom was a single mom, so she had enough of her own baggage on top of that. So dealing with me, I didn't get the best responses emotionally from her.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it then had me become more detached, more numb to be able to function in the household because it's like I didn't have necessarily the freedom to screw up emotionally. Like, black households, man. You
Yeah,
say one thing
yeah,
out of turn the first time,
yeah,
smack, like
yeah.
instantly. But again, I'm a kid, so it's a generational difference because I have a daughter. She's only 6 months old, obviously, but I have been conditioning myself and getting counseling that when the time comes for her to have words and exchange things to me, that I
Mhm.
don't snap when she says something rude because she may have no idea that what she said was rude, but I
Exactly.
can't demonize her when
Right,
she hasn't lived long enough to know what rude is. And
right,
that's
right.
where it's generationally different because my mom ain't no taking time to discern and teach. It's
Yeah,
hit,
yeah,
and then if you keep getting hit, you just stop talking. Like
right,
that's just what it
right,
is.
right. Yeah, I think I can relate to that in the sense of, you know, just to give a little story with within the conversation, as a teenager, I went through trying to commit suicide. And I felt that at the time they took it as a joke. It was just, oh, you trying to get attention, but it's
Yeah,
like,
man.
why didn't you try to figure out what the
What was
attention was
wrong?
for? What was really wrong? And so, yeah, that was.
It's a lot, man. It's a like with like the stigma of black families can be
Mhm.
so toxic sometimes. And
Very
that's
much.
a conversation that generationally really isn't had. I
Mhm.
think our generation is having those conversations and setting those boundaries with our elders because just because it's okay doesn't like just because it's the norm doesn't mean it's okay. I've really come to understand that as an adult. Like there's a lot of things that are normal, but it doesn't make them okay.
Right,
Like just because it's normal to poke fun at somebody's weight doesn't mean it's okay. It's not okay.
right, right,
Like just
right.
because it's okay to do, critique parenting or critique how you dressed or whatever they've been doing that since you was it doesn't mean it's okay.
Yeah,
Like there's certain things that generationally will be stopped with our generation because we're realizing like that's low key like rude.
exactly.
But we were
Yeah,
told it's disrespectful to say something, but then when we became adults, we realized no, that's disrespectful. Like that's
yeah,
not okay.
yeah, yeah. You know how people, you get married and people like, well, where's the baby? When you gonna have a baby? I think
Don't
that's
even
just
get me
the
started,
rudest
fam.
thing to ask anybody
Woman,
because you don't know if they're trying, they don't want to tell you. If there's issues, they don't want to. You don't know, so
infertility
it comes out. It's very rude, but it's something that the older people do.
all the time, and then don't even get me started. When you have one, when's the next one? Can I heal first? Is that okay with you? Like, can my body get back to equilibrium before you try to get another one on me? That would be
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
My lord. And again, it's a generational thing. So we're
It
not
is.
saying this stuff to be like everything the generation before it says is horrible. It's not that. It's that we're recognizing where the boundaries need to be set. because
Exactly.
my daughter will not be asked when she's having a child.
Okay.
It's
Right.
not my job. Like I'm not going to make you have children or guilt you into giving me grandchildren. That's not my generation's motive. Because we understand kids is a lot.
It is.
So we ain't gonna be asking you to have none. Like,
It is.
we understand. So, it's just, I think it's part of I think one of the biggest things with healing from our past, traumas is recognizing that that behavior doesn't have to continue, I think is a big thing. Because I think where a lot of people never get healing is they keep allowing it
Mhm.
to happen. Like
Yeah.
they know it's triggering, they know it's hurtful, but out of the whole respect notion, they let it continue. And then they wonder, well, why she don't come around the family no more? Why is she over here?
That's
It's because
it.
when I try to set boundaries, you don't want to follow them.
And I think
And
people don't understand what the difference between being I guess nasty behavior and a boundary. There's a difference there.
exactly,
Um, there's a difference from being nonchalant and just don't like somebody than setting a boundary.
exactly.
Everybody should have a boundary, you know.
Everyone,
Yeah, yeah. It should always be
everyone.
understand any setting, whether it be family, friends, uh, business,
Yeah. And
YouTube. There should always be
everything.
boundaries.
Everything, because it's like you can't let everybody in the same way. Like the way my husband is with me, you're not gonna get the husband version of him to everybody. You
Right.
won't get the full access of me to everybody because it's not meant to be that way. Like I have a child and my mom had to learn boundaries. You can't just come over my house any time of day.
Mhm.
I'm married with a child.
Exactly.
You can't
Exactly.
just buy her whatever you feel like. I have order. I'm the parent.
Right.
And again, generationally, you wouldn't do those kinds of things. Like, no, you take what you're giving, you take this. No, because if it doesn't go with the dynamic that I'm wanting to raise my child in, I will
Mhm.
not take it to make you feel better.
Right.
And as a parent, I have that right to do so. And I think that's where, generationally, it's just some differences sometimes because it's like our generation stands up for themselves more than my mom's generation did with their parents. We
Yes.
don't just let anything happen just because it's our mom or it's our dad. It's
Right.
like, no, no, if this is not okay with me, it's not okay with me. And you're gonna have to learn to respect that. It may be uncomfortable, you may be
Mhm.
upset, but you have to
Mhm.
learn to respect what I set as a boundary. Because I
Mhm.
know when Shell starts setting her boundaries with me, I might feel offended.
Mhm.
I might be like, girl, I birthed
Right.
you. What
Right.
you mean
Right.
boundaries?
Right.
But at the end of the day, she's gonna be her own person, and I can't be mad at her for doing that. It's just part of the game of being an
Right.
adult and learning yourself and learning what you like and don't like. And I think now that we have like more wisdom, not even wisdom, we're just more knowledgeable. Like we're
Yeah.
aware of more stuff. We're like, this
Yeah.
didn't make
The
sense.
the whole awake.
Well,
Awake.
exactly. Like we more like this don't make sense like they said it should make sense. Wait a second. Like this don't sit right with me. This don't it's not flying with me. That's how I see a lot of stuff that we
Right.
were told as kids was okay or normal, is not really the same thing anymore. Because another thing I've noticed with our generation too, we are a lot bigger on counseling,
Yes. Yes.
a lot
Because
bigger on counseling,
back in the day, it was keep everything in your household, keep it a secret
everything.
until and then experiencing that, and then you hold that in your mind. You don't go to counseling. You don't go to counseling. You don't do that stuff. Then you sit in there angry and filling up, and then you explode, and now you're the angry Black person out in the world doing this, that, and the third.
And they don't
Then
even
you could have
know
went to counseling, right?
exactly. Now I will thank my mom for this. She did for my childhood
Mhm.
normalized counseling. Did I
Okay.
always go all the time? No. But she at least didn't make it seem like like demonize me if I wanted to go. She's like, oh
Okay.
yeah, let's go. She was very much encouraging of it. So a lot of stuff which I think is what I credit to why I dealt with a lot of my healing sooner than most people I know, because I knew, okay, something's wrong here. Let me find a therapist
Okay.
versus the norm for Black people. Something's wrong here. Let me pray about it. I was like, let me pray and go to counseling. I'll
Right.
do both.
You gotta do both because you're gonna be sitting there. It was times where I was sitting there praying and I'm like, and then the I'm like spiritually I'm praying and then I'm over here like, but I really want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But I really feel
Real.
like this. And it's like sometimes you need more than just I'ma pray, I'ma pray, I'ma pray, you know.
Yeah. Because
And
I mean, shoot, and those it says faith without works is dead. The faith is believing you can be healed, but the work is what are you going to do to be healed? There's still
right,
things you have to
right.
do practically, like setting boundaries, knowing your triggers. Why does it trigger you? These are things and solutions to help you to grow and to not repeat the cycle. Because I
Yeah,
think that's where a lot of us mess up. It's like we know, like, shoot, I'm always angry. Okay, but why? Why are you always angry? It's just the way I am. No, it's not.
right. And then some people
Something
don't even
triggers you.
recognize that.
That's what makes it even worse too.
When
Because they're
you don't recognize, yeah.
just
It's,
living, just like, oh, it's the way I am. It's like doesn't
yeah.
seem right. It's just
And
not
it's
right.
good to be self-aware
Yes,
of admit like I'm angry, I'm hurt, admit those things so that you can begin the healing process for those things. But if you
yeah,
walking around with a mask on and you pretending as everything is just okay, you can't begin the healing process. You can't
yes.
begin to take the necessary steps to get peace in your life. It's nothing
And
like
it's key. It's nothing like it. You hear me? My
it.
when I finally came into my own level of like understanding of what joy actually is and what peace actually is, as I got older, stuff didn't bother me to the degree it used to. Do I still get
Mhm.
a little frustrated here and there? Yes. I got frustrated a few minutes ago. But when I was younger, it would bother me for hours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now it's just like, oh, okay, I'm mad, 10 minutes, okay, I'm done. Like, I learned to let it go. It's
Right.
nothing to where it will destroy my entire day like it used to. And
Yeah,
that's growth. Because I
yes.
think people discredit their own growth. It's like, are you as angry as you used to be? Or have you gotten better? If
Mhm.
you've gotten better, that's progress.
It
Like,
is.
don't discount your progress. If that means, shoot, for me, I wasn't cussing for a long time. If I didn't cuss for days or so, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't cuss. That's progress. Now, if I slipped up on Friday and said something, all right, well, shoot, let's just keep going,
Right, right,
Like,
right.
but don't discount the progress you make, whether
Mhm.
it's a small stride or a big stride. All of it comes together to make it last like a lifelong impact. It just takes time. And I think that's where people kind of stop with the healing is they don't like how long it takes.
Yes.
They
And
don't like it. Yeah.
it's not something that's just you wake up and say, "Oh, I'm healed today." It doesn't work like that. There's steps, there's a process.
Yes. And that's the thing
Yeah.
I think that gets a lot of people. It's like it's not overnight.
Mhm.
Yes, you can go to the altar at church and get delivered and all of that, but there is still work to be done. It
Right.
doesn't stop there. You have to keep going, have to consistently, if that means writing a sticky note on your bathroom wall saying you are healed, you are well, and saying it every day for months, that's
Hmm.
what you do. And
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. Because, I think a lot of people, they just get this misrepresentation of what a healed whole person is.
Hmm.
But like they don't know how many years it took for that person who's talking about the testimony to be a whole healed person. Could have been
Yeah.
decades.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
ain't no easy. I mean, it's just like I think for me, weight loss is the best analogy for anything in life because it's like you don't wake up one day and expect to drop 50 pounds overnight. That's not how that works. It's the
It's
same thing with your healing. It don't happen like that. The weight of your past trauma, the weight of your past, issues doesn't just fall off overnight. You got to burn that calories off day by day and keep consistent at it so that it stays off. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
It's
Exactly.
just It's just part of it, you know? And it's just like, you got to make sure that if you really want healing, you have to be intentional about it. You can't just kind of do it and then stop and then think you're going to pick it up again. It's like, you got to, it's an everyday struggle. It's an everyday battle.
Yeah, and that's what Uncle Stu and I stress to everybody on this platform. It's not something that you're just going to wake up and say you're healed from. It takes steps. It takes time. We didn't get to the point of being able to talk on a platform. I'm about to be 36 in a couple weeks. We just got here this year to where we can communicate. So it's not
amazing.
something that happens overnight.
It's not. But oh man, I gotta go. It is 7 o'clock on the dot, Tiana. You know, it's been a pleasure. We're gonna definitely continue next time. Oh, hey girl. Hey Ma.
Hi.
Hey girl.
Hey.
Well, I will let y'all go.
Before I'm sure he wants me to. But before you go, did you want me to say something before she went, Uncle Stu?
Oh, you muted, Uncle Stu.
Uncle Stu?
You muted.
I ain't gonna lie. I feel like shutting down the stream. They said so much within an hour that I'm like, okay, we see y'all next Tuesday. And I just
Tiana, you look just like your dad.
3 minutes ago, like 3 minutes before the stream started.
Wow. Yeah, we were just trying to figure it out. Like, we're just gonna flow. We just gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
We're gonna flow. And we figured it out, you know what I'm saying? But no, we can, again, if we're gonna keep it on Tuesdays, we can do Tuesdays. I just gotta keep it on the calendar. So that way I know it's that time. So you know, you got my number.
Let me ask a quick question. So Tiana, did you just say that you and your dad just got connected or started talking just recently?
Just a brief a brief story. I wrote in a collab about him and I's relationship and being without how you feel fatherless. At that time of writing, it was a healing thing I was going through. I reached out to him while the book was in process. And I basically told him how I felt. He didn't take it well. It was everybody's fault but his own. So when the book came out, I waited a while. I purchased the copy and I sent it to him to read. Thereafter is when he finally was able to contact me and just be real. And this happened this year.
Awesome.
Praise God.
That's up. But look, y'all, I gotta go for real. Kevon already came in. Like, it's time to wrap up.
Okay.
So next week I will be here. I appreciate the time. All right. I'll see you on Saturday, man.
Okay.